All right. Let's start with the top 10. So am I going to list my show first, or are you yours?
So you gonna list your 10, I gonna list my 10, and then we should work it on the way to the first.
Okay. So I'm going to say all 10 right now before we start like discussing them or whatever.
Yeah, so no. So you gonna say what your number
Number
10
10.
is.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So
Okay.
talk a bit about that.
Right. I'll start with my number 10, which was Little Witch Academia. Um
How do you think about this show?
what did I think about it? Well, first of
Yeah.
all, if we were including like movies and OVAs and stuff, Little
Mm-hmm.
Witch would not be in my top 10. It would be forced out by a bunch of other stuff. But I'd say Little Witch Academia earns a spot on this top 10 list based on the strength of its first half and also its
Mm-hmm.
conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first half, especially its first episode, was like the first episode in particular was a really good um,
Yep.
re-encapsulation of what made the original OVA and the Enchanted Parade so charming for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I liked a lot of the like standalone stories from the first half of the show. This was when Akko was not so grating to me, and all the other characters like Sushi and Lotte, and even side characters like Hannah and Barbara, Diana's little flunkies. They were all like their personalities hadn't been flanderized yet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they were still fresh. So I really enjoyed the mood of the series. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the kid show feel to it. I think that it lost itself a little bit in the bigger plot that it tried to construct with what's her face with the weird hair and the cape
Mm.
and the robots. What was her name?
Crocs.
Yeah, she was like one of your least favorite characters, I think.
She's yeah. That's right.
um, yeah, I wasn't so into that whole plot. Not because I didn't think the show could pull it off, but I think there were some really weak episodes in there. Like, moral of the story, after school special, Akko's dialogue is 100% about like believing in yourself type of episodes. And but I think the show redeemed itself with its finale. It was just really action packed and it was goofy. Like they were chasing after a nuclear warhead, but I liked it.
How do you feel about the cartoonist aspect of that? So like Little Witch Academia was more of the Western influence than most of
Yes,
anime that we watch. How do you feel about that though?
I
Oh,
like it.
alright. I
I'm
have a
cool with.
mixed feeling about that actually, but
Okay,
I can't tell why.
okay. What is it about the cartooniness of it that is causing you to have mixed feelings? Is it strictly the visual aspect, or is it maybe more of the cartoony tone that the show sometimes puts on?
I think both of that. So
Okay.
some of the cartoonist tone that you say, it just doesn't work well to me.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just don't feel that um it 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 fit the show. That's what I think.
Hmm. That's interesting because I think the show started out as being very very light and very um, episodically structured and very cartoony.
Hmm.
So I think that is the tone of the show.
Mm. Well,
Would you disagree with that? Would you say it was
no,
like
I
really?
I agree with that actually. Yes.
So how do you feel about the? Obviously, you don't like Croy very much, or Croix, or however you say her name.
Cross. I
But
say
obviously you
necross.
don't. Okay. Obviously you don't like her very much. But how did you feel when the show got a little darker and started to tell more of a complete story?
I do think it's a good thing that they go for the more complete story.
Hmm.
They
Okay.
have an overarching act that was very good, but the way that that girl works, Crocs, the way that she does, it just too ham-fisted for me. It just too much. It just
Okay.
it's just too stupid.
How did you feel in particular about a bunch of episodes during the second half ending with like shots of Croy or Crocs, like at the end of the episode, just in her lab testing something, and then like a little dramatic string flourish will play, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, that was my least favorite part
Yeah.
in the shows.
I definitely I agree. It was not a very good way of hooking people to watch the next episode. Like if the characters are charming, that should be enough.
Well, I feel that she's trying too hard. That the show trying to make her like one of the most, like scary persons, and in the end, she's just fall apart. She's not even like the main antagonist of the shows.
Right.
So
yeah, it's the I guess the end boss is really the warhead that they're chasing after in the sky.
Yep.
Which was launched as a result of, I don't remember exactly how it was launched. It was there were tensions between two countries, right? There was that whole soccer thing.
Yep.
And
then she generate the angry thoughts, the angry feeling, emotions from them,
right.
In order to create the end boss.
Right. Yeah.
And then it just get out of her hand. That's what I remember. So it's loose control.
Yeah.
And she just like she doesn't know how to do with that, and then she was like the whole thing. She's just like, oh my god, what am I doing now? What should I do?
Yeah, the show went for some redemption at the end.
Yep.
For Croy, and it didn't totally work, but the backstory with her and Ursula, I was interested in that. Because it's supposed to be a mirror of like Akko and Diana.
Yep, it was good. It was good. I like the fact that that there are twists there are twists that why Akko can do any magic.
Right, it's
I
because
like that
she
twist.
went to see Ursula's show, Harriet's show.
But right after that, when they show that Ursula, she didn't intend to do it. It just it kind of defeat the whole purpose.
I see. Yeah, I wasn't wild about certain aspects of that story.
Well, the writing is pretty weak for me. The whole show.
Oh, I liked the first half. I mean, obviously, I liked it enough to put it in my top 10. Although I kind of just threw it in there.
Well, I put it at my 11th, as my number 11. So it was pretty good to me as well.
But
I just don't like the writing. I like everything else. No,
You didn't
I
like the
don't really
cartoon
like
visuals.
Yeah, I didn't like the cartoonist visual. No, I didn't like some of the characters. I didn't like the one episode for one character format.
Oh, I did. I'm used to that. I've seen a lot
Alright.
of Western cartoons, and I'm totally okay with that. Like I don't expect anime all to try to tell some big story, because a lot of the ones that do end up telling really like shitty derivative isekai stories, and I'm like more okay with what Little Witch Academia is trying to do compared to that.
Or we can have Children of the Whales. Oh my god,
Right.
that show.
It's getting a second season.
Oh really?
Yeah, and the
Man.
very last episode, there's a little thing that says "See you in season 2" or something like that. I mean, maybe the funding for it will fall through or something, but I'm pretty sure they're going for a second season. It was part of the last episode.
My
I don't
god.
think I'll be watching.
No.
All right, you want to do your number 10?
Alright, so my my number 10 is Princess Principal,
Okay.
an original show from 3HZ, I think,
Was it? Okay.
about spy girls who doing action spy in a British early 18th century backdrop.
Yeah.
So
Like
it's
a
about
European setting.
steampunk. Yep. So it's more about steampunk, how they use all these gadgets to catch on like to do their spy missions. This show was pretty fun.
Well, let me stop you right there for one
Yep.
second. You say
Alright.
that you didn't like the one episode for one character format in Little Witch Academia.
Uh-huh.
Why
Alright.
was it so successful for you in Princess Principal then? Because
Well,
that
Princess
show
Principal,
engaged in the same thing.
well, Princess Principal, the whole cast is just five girls.
Yep.
So I can bear with it, and they do the no they do like non chronological format.
Yeah, non-chronological. Yep.
Yeah, so they just like mix them up, and I think that was one of the things that engage more with us, the viewers.
That was interesting for sure. Yeah.
And what else? I don't think the ending worked too well. I think
Yeah, me neither.
that's a big cop out. They try to build up the other relationship between Andre and the princess, and they build up the ambiguity of the world, and then they just don't want to address that.
I think maybe the reason they wrote it the way they did is because they want a second season.
Yeah, but yeah, I think so as well. But it was just a cheap way to end the series because
I agree.
it doesn't leave any punchline of that. Well,
Yeah, just because there's going to be a second season doesn't mean that's an excuse for wrapping your 12 episode show up in an unsatisfactory way.
and it have a bit of feminist tone, which I liked. What
Yeah.
else?
I mean, it was mainly women
Yep.
in the cast, so
Well, doing spy stuff,
yeah.
and
And they were really taking matters into their own hands.
yeah, that's right. And I like
Going
some of the main character of the cast as well. So I like Chise, the Japanese girl.
Yep.
I like Dorothy
Right. The
and
little girl with the box in her throat.
no, that's not the one. Dorothy is the
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
the
Dorothy's
leader. She the leader of the
She's-
spy.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't.
it was Beatrice, right? She was the one with the voice box.
Yeah.
Whose father experimented on her or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested in a show like just about her.
She's not interesting enough to be in the main character though.
Uh,
That's
if
what
she
I'm
were
afraid.
different though, like if there were a show just about someone whose father like experimented on them or something and gave them the ability to speak in a whole bunch of different voices, just that premise alone would get me to watch. They would have
I
to be
think-
less of a coward.
I think
though.
I think I heard of that premise somewhere before. Maybe in some of the movies.
Yeah.
Not really sure.
Well, I'd watch it.
All right.
Anything else about Princess Principal? You want to go to number 9?
Let's see.
Oh wow. You
I
have
need to check on my.
notes.
Well, on my note, I didn't actually write anything about Principal, so no.
Okay. Well, let's do number 9 then. This is a show that both of us put in our top 10s.
All right.
So I put it at 9th. It's Girls Last Tour. And you put it at what?
I put it at 7th.
Okay, so I guess we can share this segment in the interest
Alright,
of
yep.
saving time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as hot on Girls Last Tour as you were because of a couple episodes in particular, 7 and 8. Offered
What's-
like I don't remember what they were. I just remember in the course of covering the show for another podcast.
Yep.
Episodes 7 and 8, the show turned me all the way off. I just did not care about anything that happened during that time. I remember in one of the episodes there's the scene where they drive the tank out onto like the stairway or something of a spiral
Yep.
thing, and there was just no tension in that scene for me. But that's only like one of the gripes I had with it. Starting off pretty negative for one of my 10 favorite shows of the year. I do think that the show is really nicely put together. Not a lot of interesting stuff going on in terms of like the color palette. So the show's visual excellence has more to do with like the shot choices, the way everything's framed.
Yeah. I like the way that they frame the two little girl in the big vast that world.
Yes.
So there's nothing around them, just like on the remnants, on the trash lying
Right.
around.
The show definitely uses a lot of shots where the camera is pulled way back, and you can see exactly how small they are and how. I mean, it's just a way of demonstrating there's no one else around them. It's just them in their desolate environment. But they do their best to make an interesting and a pleasurable life for themselves, and like a fun life as best they can. And that's like the little moments in that show where they were discovering music, as the raindrops are hitting a bunch of cans that are laid out, or when she is explaining to you how important books are and how much she loves them, and you can see that you is like struggling to understand and kind of gets it at the end why the written word is like so powerful to Chi. I hope I got their names right.
Yeah.
Just those small moments made the show for me. And I was also a big fan of its ending.
Yep.
I know
the last episode was pretty excellent.
I know in the last episode it was split into two parts, and your favorite part was the first half where they access the computer terminal or whatever, and they see a bunch of memories.
Old videos. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Videos. That's right. It's more accurate. My favorite part was actually the second half, with the weird evolved mushrooms or whatever.
Tell me more about that.
I was really I can hear myself.
Yep.
I was
just
interested.
Yep.
You're good. I was interested in the way that the mushrooms functioned as kind of like gods of the world. How they're looking over everyone and everything.
I think more of them more like the protector of the world.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about them. They it's looked very creepy the first time that their pets eating the shell, the gun shell.
Right.
And but then when we know the reason why they do that, it make it. I think it's make a total sense for me. It just pretty good.
It was good. I liked the idea that the little Nuko, the cat, is actually one of these weird organisms that are really strange to us, like the audience, and I guess to Chi and you as well. And that there's a second story being told. It's not just about these girls. At the end, a second story enters where this cat is, or this whatever it is, this mushroom thing, is trying to find its way back to its people as well. So I think there's a bit of a mirror story being told there, because Chi and you, what I think they want more than anything is not to be alone. So they're looking for other people. And I think that the Nuko was as well. It kind of hitched a ride with them in order to feel less alone, and in the end it achieved that goal because they brought it back to its family, or its people. I like the mushrooms. I like the scene of them like floating away.
Yep.
It was kind of like majestic, almost. I was into it.
And one more thing that I like. One more thing that I like about Girl Last Tour is I like their attitude, the girl attitude towards the situation they find themselves in. So usually on the everyone who put into that positions will be desperate to just live, desperate to find something meaningful, but what those girls do is just running around, finding food, sleep, enjoy little moments, and I think that attitude is really what makes this so special to me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm sure that in the course of them traveling around, because they are the show is a little bit. It has a little bit of continuity. They're moving from place to place based on what they know about food and where they could find it. Like when they find the fish, and I think the second episode, they start moving up because
Mm-hmm.
the fish had come down through a pipe,
Yep.
and they're like, well, where did it? Maybe there's more up at the start of this water system, and then later they search for a factory where rations are produced. So I'm sure that like they are a little bit desperate because they're trying to find food, they're trying to stay alive. But the tone of the show is not one of desperation. It's one of like acceptance and
Mm-hmm.
just it's all about the search for meaning and the the little adventures they get into and the fun that they have. Except for the part where you accidentally presses a button and blows up an entire level of the
And
world.
well, and then she laughed about it.
Yeah, she does laugh about it. It's not really an appropriate reaction,
Well,
but
she
it's okay.
scared me sometimes. Well,
So what is your number 9 pick?
so my number 9 pick is Mahotsukai no Yome, the first
Okay.
core.
Right.
Well, I think that shows just in as a whole, just like in the big pictures, it doesn't offer much right now. I really like the magic aspect of the show.
Me too.
I like the relationship between Chise and Elias.
Okay, I definitely disagree with that.
All right. I actually I like Chise backstory. I
Yeah.
don't like the way she struggle right now. She's just
Okay.
looking out for family. It's I have mixed feeling about that.
Did you
And
watch the OVA?
I watched the OVA. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Did you
it was
watch the
pretty good.
OVAs?
I did, yeah, and I think that's probably my favorite material
That
that they've adapted.
yeah, that's exactly right. So we watched the whole first core and we watched the three OVAs and the OVA still stand out for me.
Yeah, me too.
So that what my problem with is right now. So the overall structures of the first core, it's just like focusing on the small acts, usually about like two or three episodes per act,
Yes.
and it's add so little to the big pictures, to the main stories, that it doesn't leave much impact to me. That's what I
Right.
feel right now. But for
Yeah.
everything else, for the technical aspect, for the production, it was pretty nice. It was pretty good. For only little emotional they did in their little acts, I still feel it. I still think it pretty solid.
Okay. The background art is definitely stunning. I think that's
Yeah.
the number one weapon that the show has going for it. But the animation is just, to me, it's just so. Like it's passable. It's TV anime. It's done on a budget. The main, I guess, disagreement that I have with your assessment of the show is the
Yeah.
relationship between Chisei and Elias.
Yeah.
I don't buy it, like not even a little bit, because there are scenes where he's like in this monstrous, terrible state, where he's like transformed into this black menace, and
Yeah.
there's thorns everywhere, and he's got his little skull head, and in one episode she's lying in bed and he's like towering
Tried-
over top of her with
Yeah.
his jaws open, but she never reacts with like fear or distrust or anything. She's just like so enamored with him, I guess.
Yeah, I think
But
that's the point of the show, to show you that Chise doesn't afraid of him, even when he was in the best shape, in his evil shape.
Yeah, but that's not like a normal human reaction.
Oh well, because Chise isn't, say like she have like her emotional was so twisted.
Yeah,
It's not exactly the word, but like so
she's damaged.
yeah, she damaged.
But someone who is like depressed, or I mean the show even goes so far as to tell us that she has experienced suicidal urges, suicidal thoughts, and she tried to jump off a building.
Mhm.
to her death. So we know that she's, had a dark past. Her mother killed herself in front of her, and so she has all my sympathy. But even if you're really messed up as a result of like a scary childhood and like going through a bunch of foster homes and stuff, you still have that instinct of self-preservation that would cause you to like freak out if there's a crazy monster like near you.
Well, I think that Chise's attitude is like she would die for him. She would be happy if the guy is her. That's what I think. That's what her attitude is. I'm so okay with that.
I
don't think you do.
I don't think that she would be okay with eating him, because like the little bit of dialogue that the show gives us afterwards, after that particular scene where he's like about to devour her or whatever, is what is it? She says something like, it wouldn't even occur to me to be afraid because, damn it, what did she say?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. She just says something about like, oh, I'm not human either, or something like that. I just don't buy that. Like, she's a girl. She may be a slave beggar and have like magical powers and properties or whatever, and she may be kind of messed up as a result of what happened to her as a kid. But I would like to see her being more visibly and recognizably human, so that I could get invested in the romance. Because right now I'm not about it.
And what do you think about their relationship as like romance, so between two couples, or as the apprentice and master?
It's definitely not enough of the apprentice and master thing. There's not enough of the magical element of the show present, I don't think.
That's right.
There are a lot of episodes where there are just like 10-minute, really long and terminable heart-to-heart conversations between her and Elias, where he talks about like, oh, it's so cold when you're not here.
That's right.
It's
just so slow.
Yeah, I'm not about it, man. I do agree that the magical aspect of the show is really cool. I just want it to be like Harry Potter. I just want everything to be Harry Potter.
Right.
Like there was more magic in Little Witch Academia, for instance.
I agree with you on that.
So I have some issues with Mahou Sky, but I am still watching it.
How did you think about the main villains?
Just all the villains of like the individual arcs, especially like the white-haired guy.
The white-haired guy.
Yeah. He has that usual like anime psychopath thing going on where he doesn't react normally to threatening situations. He always has like a voice of mock surprise. And he is seemingly unfazed by everything that happens to him, until the moment where Elias goes beast mode and he has to teleport away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the jury is still out on him for me. He seems a little, he's not the kind of villain that I want, at least not from what I've seen, but I don't know enough about him yet.
Yeah. How you think that his role will be in the big story?
Role?
Yeah, his role.
I don't know, especially because in the second cour a new villain just got introduced. Have you seen episode 13?
No, I seen episode 13. I didn't see the last episodes.
Okay, I haven't seen 14 either, and that's the most recent one. But you saw Chise get kidnapped and turned into a you know what, right?
Bird. Yeah.
Yeah. No, a fox.
Oh, a fox. Yeah, a fox. Sorry.
Yeah, because he pulls out like the pelt of the fox and wraps it around her, and she transforms into it or something. So there's a new villain in town. I don't know how the white-haired guy is going to fit in. I do hope that he reappears.
I honestly don't care about what happened next.
With him or the show in general?
The show in general.
Oh wow, that's pretty harsh.
The big cliffhanging,
Yeah.
They have that like for several times now. They have like the cliffhangings of Chise getting into trouble and
getting kidnapped or whatever.
In the next episode, it just she's totally fine.
Yeah.
For the first few minutes, it's just
Well,
it's,
that's because they got to get her back to the house where Elias is, so they can have more conversations about
so
how
so
cold he is when she's
yeah.
gone.
So he getting warm up, right?
Right. I mean, maybe the show will discover itself in the second
Well,
half. Maybe like a bigger plot will emerge, but I really don't feel that generous towards it right now.
all right. So I expect for the second core they will have like the big grand, uh, like the big act that put everything come together. I really expect that because otherwise this show gonna fall flat for me.
Yeah. Well, you expect it, like you want it, but is it really going to happen?
I'm not really sure. I wanted it like that.
Yeah. Me too. All right, we've already been talking for like 41 minutes, and we've only gone
Is it?
through.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
We've
Let's go
only
on
been
then.
through parts 10 and 9. So let's start.
let's
cutting it
let's
down
see
to
your
middle
number
plus.
8.
Yeah, my number 8 is Kekkai Sensen and Beyond, also known as
Yep.
Blood Blockade Battlefront. I'm amazed I just said that without tripping over my own tongue. It's a bit of a tongue twister. It's a Bones action series. Another one of these series that has episodes dedicated to individual characters. That was even more prominent in this second season.
Yep.
And I thought that most of them were really good. I really like the show. I like its soundtrack. It's like a mix of jazz and hip hop and Japanese rock that I think really brings the show to life. I do have a few qualms with how nutty and like how loud the characters can be. They get a little frantic and hyper sometimes, but that's part of the show as well. The show itself is very frantic and very hyper, and I admire it for that. I admire the portrait that it paints of this alternate version of New York City where there's like aliens running around and these mysterious beasts and like vampires and people with superpowers and stuff. It really works for me. And my favorite episode was I can't remember what number it is, but it's the one where the sniper woman has to balance a mission that she's supposed to carry out with
Oh,
Parent
nice.
Day
Yep.
at her school. Did you
Is
watch
it?
the show?
I watched the show. I watched the whole shows.
Okay.
I think
Do
my
you remember that? Do you remember the episode I'm talking about?
Yep, I do.
That was my favorite of the season, mostly because I like anything that has to do with kids.
Oh, right.
That's like my weakness, you know. Episodes about parenting, episodes about being a kid, episodes about just children in general. Whenever they're
That's-
focused on and really treated with any amount of sophistication.
There's a new show this season about babysitters. Though, you want to watch that? as well?
Gakuen Babysitters.
Yeah,
I
that's the
have
one.
not seen I have not seen the first episode yet. I'm planning on it.
Yep.
And I actually liked the 2011 Gainax series. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's about the guy who works at a kindergarten.
2007.
I think it's 2000. I think it's 2011.
11.
Yeah, it's Gainax.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
What is it called? I can't
No,
remember.
no. I don't remember as well. Is that guy next?
Oh, Hanamaru Kindergarten.
Alright, I have no idea about that one.
I think it's 2011. But I really enjoyed that show, even though a lot of people wrote it off as like kind of Gainax's dying breath. So anyway, that's my number 8.
Alright, I got 2 questions for you about
Okay.
the shows. First, how do you compare this show to the first season?
I like it more.
Mm.
The ending of the first season to me was a travesty.
Mm-hmm.
With the original characters black and white.
Yep.
I
like the ending though.
You liked the ending of the first season?
Yep, I like the ending of the first season.
It made me want to go to sleep.
Well,
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
Although it was released like months and months and months after the rest of the show aired on TV.
yeah, it's like 3 months late.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I wasn't as wild about it, because like my admiration for the show had kind of died down.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the second season more. It's still very wild and very kinetic, in its direction, but it's a little more reined in than Rie Matsumoto's style from the first season.
Mm-hmm. And how do you
Because
think
they
about
had
the
the
ending
director switch. The ending of
of
Kekkai
the second
Sensen 2.
season? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a little more. I think it went for a similar, like, kind of big um, episode for Leo in particular,
Mm-hmm.
and it focused on his relationship with his sister, as did the finale from the first season, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
But it was a little less crowded, like a little less cramped, because it didn't have to deal with black or white. It was mostly a Leo showcase, and I
Yeah.
was cool with that.
Yep. All right.
How about your number 8 pick?
So my number 8 pick is ACCA,
Okay.
a madhouse show from the winter 2017. It's a very slow burn show. It's about a coup without an actual coup, and it's have a lot of food in there, cake, bread, whatever.
Yes. Yes. In fact, the cake store or the bread shop or whatever, isn't that like a central location in the show?
That is.
Like Gene
Uh,
meets people there and exchanges information and stuff.
Yeah, and everyone just love eating cakes while
Yep.
discussing about the coup.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love every moment of it. So I think the first half was pretty slow. That like can turn most people off, but it gets better and better. And
The
sorry,
Go ahead.
yep.
Go ahead.
All right, and I like the idea of like he go into 13 different districts with
Yes.
different characteristics, so we can see like how each of them function by itself and how each of them contribute to the whole big nations. I think
Yeah.
it's a very cool idea.
It is, and even if the show isn't totally doing it for you, if you feel that it's a little slow, there's always the hook of like, oh, what district is he going to go to next, and what is it going to look like, and
That's right.
what is their government like? So there's always a reason to come back to the show.
And I like the main cast of the show. So we have Chin, we have Nino, the guys who look after his and his sisters. We have his
Yeah.
sister Lotta, and they
Yep.
they all have like different kind of chemistry altogether. And I think it's pretty good the way that they write them, like with different chemistry together.
Gene was my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
mostly for the one episode that went into his backstory about how he and his father before him were in charge of keeping tabs.
That's Nino.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Gene?
Yeah, you say Chin.
Yeah, it's Nino who's my favorite. He's the one who always wears the black turtleneck. He often has
Yeah.
sunglasses on. He's got the blue hair.
Blue hairs, yep.
Yeah, he is my favorite, and it's because of that particular spotlight episode that he had. That was my favorite. To me, that episode blows every other episode out of the water.
Mm-hmm. That
Um,
that was that's one of the great episodes for sure.
Yeah.
I think that was episode 7 or 6. I don't remember.
I think it might be 7. That sounds familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the show. I was not too into its conclusion, the coup.
Oh really?
Mainly-
Because I think the
Yeah.
ending pretty much perfectly the way it is. It tied on the loose end.
Yeah, it did. And there was a twist about which member of that like big council was actually the one who was planning to take it down.
Yeah.
That was interesting. But I wasn't so interested, like I wasn't so invested in the idea that Gene and his sister were actually royalty. Like although that was that was the driving force of a lot of the characters' actions in the show, I didn't care too much about that. I
Yeah.
was more interested in individual moments.
Yeah, I think Chin himself doesn't care about it either, or even Lotta herself doesn't care that they come from the royalty family.
Yeah, they're definitely their own people, with their own. They don't define themselves by like status or their relationships to others. They really know, I think, who they are, and they have a very like cool, kind of suave way of going about things.
And After watching ACCA, I actually like read and watch some more of the mangaka otherwise, and I think she's pretty good. She a pretty good mangaka.
What else has she done?
So she done House of Five Leaf.
Okay, I've seen that.
She
It's a good show.
done his the restaurant of
Oh, Ristorante Paradiso.
yep, that's the one. I haven't watched it.
I dropped that super fast.
How come is that not that good?
um, well, the second episode was about a young girl being attracted to a much older man, but not in a way that made me want to keep watching, like Koi wa Ameagari from this season.
All right, I
It was in a way that did not make me want to keep watching. But that's not to say that the show isn't good. I just wasn't interested in it anymore after 2 episodes.
and I saw some more of her. I read some more of her manga, which is I don't remember the name right now, so I have to look it up now.
Okay.
So
Are you like looking through her?
yeah,
What would it be called? I know for like bands it would be called a discography. What would it be
uh,
called for a mangaka?
I think that's just like public works. The
Yeah,
what
I
they say.
guess. Yeah. So you're looking through that to try to find out
Yeah,
what
not
manga you read.
not simple, which is very good for me.
Did you say not simple?
Not simple. Yep.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. But I'm not much of a manga guy. I'm more of an anime guy.
Oh my god. You have to know like how I read the manga. It's just too slow. I basically like read for the whole night for like 6 hours straight for just a few chapters. I don't know why my skill of reading manga is just too slow. I just looking at the pictures.
I mean the art's the biggest part of it, right? The text is much
Yep.
smaller by comparison. It takes up less of the page. And the story's important, but it's probably a visual medium before anything else. All right, let's go on to number
Well,
7. Is
Yeah.
that cool?
So what is your number 7?
Eccentric Family 2.
Alright, I have that as my number 4 as well.
Okay. You can do the bulk of the talking about this one because I don't remember much about it. Um, I remember liking it more than the first season. I think you probably preferred the first season.
I prefer the first season. So this is the story about in that's set in Kyoto. Um, this is a story about Tanuki.
Yep. And humans and also Tengu.
Yeah, and Tengus, yes, and human all live together in the world. So the second season, I think the it isn't better than the first, but for the new characters, they fit in the show very well. They have like more of the like they dwell more into the show themes, and actually what surprised me the most in the second season is how they handle the on the romantic pairs, because
Yes, especially the main guy and his
yeah,
fiance, the
oh my
invisible
god,
girl.
I just love them, the two of them.
Me too. Me too, actually. Yeah.
And yeah, so the ending pretty much sum up everything very nice, while still leaves like some of the main plot for the next book will come. I think about like 2 or 3 more years. He haven't started on the book yet.
But there's going to be another one.
There's gonna be another one.
Oh, cool. I wonder if PA Works will adapt that one into a third season of the show.
I think they will, because this is one of the show that PA was like it's their main child, it's their brainchild. They on top of the committees of producing the eccentric families, which
Okay.
is very rare for a studio to like leading the main committee for producing.
Yeah,
And
I don't
anime.
know much about any of that, but I guess that is pretty rare. Usually it's outside companies.
Yeah,
Who are-
it usually outside companies, and so for last year it's only this one, the eccentric families and Virgin Shows, the Rage of Bahamut
Yes.
were headlining by the studio that that produce them.
Right. That's an interesting fact. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, they're clearly very invested in the Eccentric family. I can't imagine that the first season sold that well because it doesn't seem like the kind of show that would be a big success.
Well, I think they have its appeal because like the Kyoto were portrayed in the show was very unique. That they use the show as the what they call the advertisement for people coming to Kyoto.
Yeah.
So that was pretty something. That was pretty unusual.
That reminds me of another show.
Sorry. Yep.
Are we good?
Go on. Yep.
We're good. That reminds me of another show from 2016, I think. Poco's Udon World.
All right.
That did a similar thing where it functioned kind of as an advertisement for tourism for the city that it was depicting.
Well, I wrote that show after like 2 or 3 episodes. Well,
I really liked it, but it's not for everybody, I guess.
It had
Eccentric Family, I think, presents a much more fantastical and vivid portrait of its city.
Yeah, magical realism. That's the term that I use.
Yeah. One thing that I liked about the sequel was just the variety of locations that it went to.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't something that I really felt the first season did as well. Like in the second season, there's literally an episode where the main character falls into a portrait of hell and visits the underworld.
Yep.
And there's like that triple decker bus that has a hot spring on top of it.
Yep.
I don't remember if that was in the first season. I don't think that it was.
No, they don't have that in first seasons. I'm pretty sure.
I just thought there was a lot more imagination in the second season, but it has been quite a while since I watched the original.
Alright.
So I was a fan.
Me too. Alright, let's get on to
your number 7.
My number 7 is the last tour, so we talked about that. Let's get on to your number 6.
My number 6 was Maid in Abyss,
which is on my top 10 list as well.
Yeah. Where'd you put it?
In number 2.
Okay. This show, to me, has the best first episode of the year, best premiere. Mm-hmm. The insert song that plays after the first scene where what's her face, the little blonde girl whose name I can't remember, it starts with an R, I think.
Okay, I don't remember as well. Sorry.
That's fine. I don't remember anyone's name, man. But the intro song that plays as they're making their way up out of the abyss and back to the town, with like the sun setting and them hitching a ride with that guy who has that weird animal pulling the cart. Maybe I'm being too specific here, but I just every moment of that scene is burned into my memory, and it's thanks to that song. Like the music, so beautiful. All the visuals, like the way that the abyss is depicted is so colorful and beautiful, but also later in the show so threatening and dark. It's really cool. I'm not as big a fan of the ending as most other people. I think for most people the ending elevates the show to like an elite status.
Well,
but I was more
that was for me.
Yeah, I was more interested in the way that it began. So how did you feel about the ending, or the show in general?
Well, I think that the show is pretty good. So it's pretty brutal. That's a word that I don't normally use for a show about kids, but they're pretty brutal. I love the world buildings. So like when you see, because the show is about delving into the abyss, so they have like the visual motifs of horizontals. It's just pretty cool when you see that on the screenshots.
They have the visual motif of, did you say horizontals?
Yeah, horizontals. Horizontal,
okay.
Yep.
So what do you mean by that exactly? Like the way shots are composed?
No.
Or?
Yeah, the way shots are composed. I mean verticals. Is that verticals? Sorry.
Yeah, like up and down?
Up and down, yep.
Yeah.
So it's like you see like the class that the kids was study.
Yes,
They
their classroom.
yeah, so they were built in that way as well. So it was, like it was from up and down, up
Yeah,
and
now I
down.
see. Now I see what you mean about motif.
Yeah,
There's definitely a vertical motif going on. I hadn't really considered that. I mean, I definitely remembered the classroom, but it makes
and
sense.
yeah, and when right to the end, where they send the balloon up to the guy on top, it also like it goes all from down to up.
Yeah, that was a cool scene because you can see it passing through all of the layers through which
Yeah,
they've descended, like in reverse order.
that's right.
It puts a
I
nice little bow on the show.
Well, so the last episode for me, the double length, so it's like 45 minutes. It was
Yeah.
just perfect to me. It just they have everything. They have like the most emotional impact scene that I have seen in years,
Huh.
in last years. The the characters that I do care about, the decision from I think Ragu, the names of the kid of the main kids, who have to kill off his friends. It
Yes, he has to kill Midi.
Yeah, his committee, and the balloon things. It was just everything turned out perfect to me for
Okay,
for,
yeah.
for the last episodes.
It's a good show for sure, but I don't think I would go so far as to call it great. Um, I know many people disagree with me. This is one of the most beloved shows of the year, perhaps the most.
The most.
But uh, I was just most enchanted by the show at the very start. Um, so that's why it ranks so low for me, I guess, in comparison to you.
How do you think about the what they call loli, I think some people accuse the mangaka for being a bit like a bit
What?
too
Perverted?
perverted.
Have you read the manga at all?
I haven't. Is it
Okay.
that bad?
Those accusations are 100% justified.
Really?
Yes. It's worse in the manga. They toned it down for the anime.
Well,
Now, I haven't read the entire thing, but
all right.
I have seen plenty
Tell
of pages and screenshots.
tell me one example of that.
Okay, let me give you an example. Well, the example that's popping to mind right now is actually material that the anime hasn't gotten to yet.
All right.
But there's a big focus on a character's like urine being sucked out of them,
Mm-hmm.
and the person who's causing this to happen by mechanical means is
Mm-hmm.
like kind of sweet talking them and being like, "Oh, it's okay, let it all out." It's
Oh.
really weird and creepy and like what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is, but the author clearly has some major fetishes that he's
But
working
but
into his stuff.
that interesting because like when I watched the whole season, it didn't really occur to me about all the things that people said about the pedophiles and stuff. But when I advised I asked my friend to watch it. After she watched the whole season, she said like there was a low key pedophile from
Yeah.
from the series that she sends, and I was
Well,
amazed because I didn't really like catch on any of that at all.
well, people who watch a lot of anime might be a little desensitized to it because there's like there's kind of an obsession with that in some anime series.
Mm-hmm. All
Uh,
right.
so maybe people who don't watch as much would like it would be more strange to them, or they would detect it more easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
All right.
it's
Let's move on. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Let's move on. We can move on. We don't have to keep talking about this. It's a little odd. What was your number 6? Was it already
My
on my list or what?
Yeah. So my number 6 is Much Coming Like Lions, Sangatsu no Lion.
Okay, that was my second place.
Yep. So that included the second core of the first season and the first core of the second seasons.
Yeah, everything that aired in 2017.
Yeah, everything that aired in 2017. You're right. And for both of the season, I alright. So for the first season, many of my favorite episodes were falling out from the second core, like the Moonlight episodes.
Okay. I have to be
like
honest
the
with you.
Shimada acts.
Yes. Okay. That's something that I can latch on to. I love Shimada.
I know you put him as your favorite characters.
Yes, he's
And
my
for
favorite
the
here.
and for the second season, there is a the bullying act that I think is one of Sangatsu's strongest materials.
Yeah, the bullying stuff is almost all of it is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they put like the 360 into the pictures, and also putting Ray into like active mode. So he had to work on something. He had to like to really do something that he care about. So I really like the act.
Yeah. The bullying arc in particular, him trying to provide financially for whatever might happen with Hinata at school.
Yeah, and although his plan doesn't work, you still you still know that he tried his best.
Yeah, it is nice to see him motivated because, especially in the first season, he was often not motivated, or when he was, it was for the wrong reasons.
Well,
But he's definitely turned it around a little bit as the show has gone on and as the series has gone on.
and I think one of the season that's the show made it rise is the exclusion of Kyoko, the Grey
Yes,
Sisters.
his stepsister or his adopted sister.
Yeah, so she doesn't appear much in the second seasons yet. I think that stands for a reason.
What reason do you think that is?
Because she bring dark atmospheres to the show as a whole. So and we also have quite a depressing story about bullying. So I think just putting her there in the act would be too much.
Yeah,
So
there
I
might
think
be
that's
too many.
yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I think that is the right decision to like to let her slide for now.
Right. Yeah, if she were to come back into the show, it might be too many balls for the show to juggle.
That's right.
It might not be able to handle all those story elements at one time. I love this show so much that I went ahead and read like I don't know 80 chapters or something of the manga to get totally caught up.
Wow, good for you.
Well, the show or the manga only gets translated once a year. The person who translates it into English only does it when an entire volume comes out.
Yeah, it because
So-
it was published like once a year now, even in Japan.
No, I thought that it was part of Young Animal. I thought it was serialized in that magazine, which came out monthly.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
All right. Yeah.
But
Mm.
I mean, regardless, we English speakers, or I guess I as an English speaker, I shouldn't say we.
Well-
because I don't know who's listening to this. I can only read it like once a year now, and so all I have to go on is the anime, and that's kind of changed my perception of it a little bit. I'm more distracted by all the shaftisms, the weird Shinbo visuals that sometimes pop up.
Well,
But for the most part, I think they do their job. I don't know if they're the best way of portraying the emotions that are running through the characters' minds, but they work.
I think when it comes to depicting the raw emotionals, I think Sharp pretty much up for that. Sharp, I think Sharp is like the best studio to to actually depict on the raw emotionals.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I know you are a Shaft fan because you also like Monogatari and
Yep.
other
Everything else.
Shaft works. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Shaft. You already know which Shaft stuff I like and which I don't like.
Yes.
But Rigatsu is definitely one of the ones I like.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything else to say about that show, or do you want to move on?
All right, let's move on to your number 5.
Okay, it's Hoseki no Reitetsu, the second season. So this
Mm-hmm.
is translated, I think, as Hoseki's cool-headedness in English, which
I I
I don't
only
think is
I
totally
only watched like
appropriate.
I only watched like the first 5 minutes of the first episodes of the first seasons
Okay.
before I bail out.
um, I will say that the second season to me is better than the first season. I really cannot explain why. I just enjoyed it more.
Uh,
Um, I I think maybe the show does a better job of spreading the wealth between all of its cast members. Obviously, the main character is Hozuki. His name's right in the title.
mm-hmm.
But the show is it's a comedy. It's set in hell, and the idea is that there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of different parts of hell. There's a bunch of different hells, and it kind of treats the whole thing like the afterlife, the underworld, as a bureaucracy with a bunch of paperwork that has to be done and officials who have to decide where certain people's souls will go based on what terrible stuff they did in their lives on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the show's very Japanese as well. There are a lot of jokes that I don't completely understand, and I think that's one thing that the second season did really well was make the comedy stronger on the visual side.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something about it that I could appreciate even when I didn't get like the little bit of folklore that they were making a joke about or something. It's definitely not a show for everyone. It was very underwatched. I, because I think it's going for like an exclusively Japanese market. This is not a show that can break into the West at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it always made me smile, even if it rarely made me laugh. Um, and making me smile is about as much as I can expect from an anime comedy, honestly,
Yeah.
because humor is so like cultural. I was still able to enjoy the show though. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, I guess. Oh, the show did change studios. It
All
was
right.
Wit. It was Wit during its first season, but I think was it JC Staff that took over for the second?
And how you think about the difference? Do they
I
change
didn't.
the character designs?
Nope.
All right.
It was a flawless for me. It was a flawless transition.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciated that as well.
There was some shows that doing the transition from studio as well.
Yeah,
Like
like Kekkai
s-
Sensen.
yeah, no, is it no?
Oh no, I'm
That
wrong. What am I thinking of?
Spy and Wolf,
What?
Spice and Wolf.
Oh, I didn't know that there was a studio change. I was
Yeah,
thinking
there
more
was.
like recently.
Oh,
There wasn't there.
recently.
Oh, like One Punch Man, for example. Second season is not going to be Madhouse.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
Mm.
And there's some other major example that I'm not remembering.
Well, I remembering my little oh snafu Oreimo. Oh my
Okay.
god.
No, not
Uh,
Oreimo. I know which one you're talking about.
yeah.
It's the My Romantic Comedy Can't
Yep.
Be This Whatever or
This
something.
cute, I think.
It's My Teenage Romantic Comedy Snafu is Wrong as Expected
Oh, that's the
or
one.
something.
Yeah.
That's the English title. I could not stomach that show.
Really, I think
No.
the second season is much better than the first.
Huh.
And did you watch the second season at all?
I watched the first 3 episodes of both seasons.
Alright, I think you can watch. I think you can enjoy the shows. You will enjoy the shows.
I tried three
It's
episodes
start.
of both. I'm not going back.
Alright.
Not
Let's move
into
on
it.
now.
Sure. What was your number 5, Mario?
Okay, my number 5 is Tsuki.
Okay,
That's
that's my number 1.
alright.
So, what do you like about the show?
This is one of the most realistic depictions of like teen romance that I have seen in the world, anime wise.
Yeah.
I like the visual storytelling, so they just show them tales. I like the simple story. I like the focus, just the focus between the relationship of the two characters. So usually we have like boy gets girls, boy lose girl and stuff, but not really the case here. We just see like how the relationship progress. I have to I have too much admiration about this show.
Did you say you have too much admiration?
Admiration.
Yeah, I definitely admire it a lot as well.
All right, how about you?
Uh, I mean, I put it number one. I obviously think the world of the show. It's the only anime this season that made me burn. Like, well, I watched Three Gatsu from week to week, but most of the shows I did not watch from week to week. I would like let them build up for a while and then watch them. In the case of Tsuki ga Kirei, I was late to the party and I only started watching it once the entire thing was available. I was not very hot on the first episode. I didn't like how awkward they were at the restaurant when they meet each other outside of school. I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those shows. And then from the second episode, which is the track meet, to the end, I was hooked and I could not stop watching. I just had to. I stayed up until like the middle of the night, just watching this show by myself in the dark in my room, crying at like every other episode. It probably just hit really close to home for me, because it just made me feel the way that I did when I was entering my first relationship, and it reminded me of a lot of the nervousness that I felt when I was younger around girls that I was interested in, and the nervousness that I felt in general, like the shaky kind of concept of myself that I had as a teenager, all the worries that I had about like being good enough, because they're both characters. It's not just about their relationship. She is also into track, and he is trying to become, like an author.
A writer, yep.
And that's an important part of the show as well. Maybe not as front and center as the romance, but they're trying to succeed on their own terms too. So I really just the show made me really want to watch the next episode at the end of every single one, and it didn't do it with cheap cliffhangers. It did it with really great characters, or what I thought were great characters. And I guess the last thing I'll say about it is the use of texting in the show.
Yep.
It wasn't particularly artistic. They just showed shots of the phones, and in fact, I think the show was funded in part by Line, the social networking service. It was like an advertisement for it, but it was the greatest, like most artistic long form ad that I've ever seen.
I have Line on my phone, by the way.
You do?
I do.
Do you use it to keep in contact with people?
Well, I use it very regularly, just so you know. It's
very regularly?
Yeah, it's the Korean apps. And
okay.
Yep, I have some of my friends who use Line, so I have to use Line to talk to them.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So did you recognize like all the stickers and all the emotes and emojis and stuff?
Nope. I think that Japanese things.
Okay. I see. I just like the use of texting. All the shots where one character was like alone in their room and waiting for the other person to text them. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to do that kind of scene wrong, and I am not enough of like a cinematography buff or whatever to explain why those things were so successful. But
well, I think the strength is like they don't overplay it. Usually for other anime, they will like overreact. The character overreacts over those message.
Yeah, there's a lot of overreacting in anime.
And this show is never overreact. That's why it feels realistic. That's why it feels like simple, yet we can all relate it to it.
Yes, I definitely did.
And for myself, I always feel that this show would go hand in hand with Flowers of Evils.
Interesting comparison. I don't see a lot of similarities between those two.
It start off as a romance. It's about relationship of those 14 years old boys and girls. One of them is pride and realistic. The other one also realistic but dark. I think it's could go very well altogether. If you
Man,
watch
I don't.
those two
I don't
back
see
and
it.
back. All right.
Huh.
I always feel that
That's interesting.
And it's
I
also
don't think that Flowers of Evil is a romance at all.
all right. It's not about romance. It's about a relationship. The two the two shows are about relationship. One of them is about romance. The other one is about the twisted relationship that bring you down.
Yeah, there. I mean, but most shows are about relationships, don't you think? Between characters in one way or another.
Well, they're not exclusively about relationship like the shows. And on shows, those two shows are about coming of age, about
Yes.
maturing,
Yeah.
learn about yourself. So I think they
Eh.
yes.
I definitely agree that they're about coming of age, but I don't think Flowers of Evil is about learning about yourself.
It's
Really, I think
about
it's like really
oh because
dark
you
and
you have
cynical.
well because you haven't read the manga, so that's why.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
the,
I've not
that
read the manga.
yeah
I should probably do that.
yeah. You should though because there's the whole last section when he was older and he's just like look at the events with like different eyes, with different view, and I think that's a well. Here you go.
Interesting. Maybe if I read the manga, I'll see more of a connection between the two. But as for what was adapted in anime form, it was like relentlessly dark and disturbing. And I don't think that Tsuki ga Kirei is either of those things.
Mm,
It gets sad
that's the whole point
sometimes.
because they so different in in their approach, but
Right.
they basically say about the same things
Huh.
about coming of age.
Okay.
All right.
All right. What did you
What
put
is
as?
no?
Wait, what are we on?
What do you put for your number four?
Oh, for me, Kobayashi-san no Maid Dragon.
Well,
Um,
that's a surprise.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise for me too. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I'll try to keep this short. The podcast is running a little long. There are two main things that I love about this show.
Mm-hmm.
One, the art and animation.
Mm-hmm.
KyoAni really brought it for this show. It looks
As
and
always.
yeah, but it wasn't in the same vein as like, you know, Hyoka, Hibiki Euphonium.
Yep.
I don't know, whatever else it is that they've done. Like Violet Evergarden that's airing this season.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally different. It had a different look, and I really liked it. Um, all the characters. It was a show about characters like being good to one another. You know,
Yep.
there was no villain. It was about kind of making your own family
Yep.
out of the people in your life and being satisfied with that and learning to understand and appreciate uh, the people who
other.
you work with, the people who you live with. And I think almost every episode really clearly and successfully delivered that theme.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I don't like about the show is the weird, eccentric, borderline pointless.
Lesbian aspect.
No, I was interested in the very subtle hints of lesbianism
All right.
because the show was like in the same way that it like as it teased this relationship between two women, it also depicted them as really good friends. So it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of delivering the message that romance and friendship are intertwined,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that. What I didn't like about the show was all the jokes about like the little kindergarten girl having a crush on Kana, and the
Oh,
little
right.
magician boy always
Oh,
getting
yeah,
totally
yeah, yeah.
flustered whenever Lukoa or whatever her name was like
Yep.
walking around with a low cut top.
Big boobs.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in all those little eccentricities, those little bits of fan service. I could do without those entirely. Um, but I did like I did like that almost every episode was very clearly
Mm.
thematically geared towards building a makeshift family and being happy with it.
All right. For
And I
this
also
show,
think I think the show looked good. I think it looked really good.
Mhm. For yeah, for that show, I still stand by my review that it was enjoyable, but not great
Okay.
series.
I don't think it's great either. I wouldn't. I mean, I put it number 4, and I wouldn't say it's great. I would say that only the top 3 probably are really great.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on. So
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Eccentric Family 2.
Right, which we discussed.
What we discussed already.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our number 3. We have the same
Right,
number
we had
3
the
here.
same show. And that was what?
That's word Rakugo Shinju, the descending
2.
story 2.
Yes. I really like the Descending Stories subtitle in English.
Yep.
I don't know if it's
Me too.
an accurate translation, but it sounds so, like generational, just like the show itself.
Yep, that's right. What do you think
Why
about
don't
the
you talk about it?
second season?
Not as good as the first.
Really?
To me, the first is an utter masterpiece and maybe the best TV anime of this decade.
All right.
The second season, not as much.
That's
It was probably because it was less tragic. I really liked that the first season of Rakugo Shinju was essentially a tragedy.
all right. I feel about the first season is it was smooth. It was like the whole piece. It was solid, flawless. But for the second season, it was like darker. It was more they push more up the main guy story. What his name again? Sorry.
You mean the ex-con who gets out of prison and decides that
No,
he
no,
wants
no.
to be...
The
You mean Yakumo?
Yakumo. Yep.
Yeah, Yakumo is his Rakugo title.
All right. Because I think essentially is the second season is the story about him,
I agree completely.
and he did like go through hell
Yes.
and back.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah, in episode 11, he literally... Well, maybe it's not hell, but he's caught in limbo somewhere in the afterlife.
So
Yeah,
for me the second season is more uneven, but I think it's the uneven, but it's still
Okay.
a very good story. I think I prefer the second season more than the first one.
Okay. The second season's definitely more about Yakumo, and his actual name I think is Kikuhiko.
Yep.
Yakumo is just his like performing title or
His
whatever.
his stage name. Yep.
Yes. The second season to me is all about him, and maybe one of the reasons I feel that way is because I'm not a fan of the protagonist of the second season, the ex-con,
Yep.
who's very like loud and boisterous, and to me is kind of an outlier in a more subtle world the show built for itself.
All right.
So I don't like how loud he was. I mean, I can appreciate that was kind of the point of his character, was that, and the point of the show as it moved in like past World War II and into a new era, was that Rakugo has to evolve and it needs new personalities. And this guy has a new personality for sure, very different. Like very much a crowd pleaser as opposed to a more classical performer. But I just didn't like him. I don't know whether it was the voice actor's performance or just his role in the story as being kind of like a little puppy who's always begging his teacher, "Oh, can I do this?" Or always like, I don't know, weirdly associating himself with Konatsu.
Yep.
I couldn't quite get a grasp on their relationship. I wasn't into him, so I wasn't as much into the second season, I think.
How
But
do you think about it? Sorry, you go on.
It definitely got dark with regards to Yakumo's character as he approached death.
How do you think about the time jumps? There is a lot of time jumps on
Yes.
on the second seasons.
Um,
How do you feel about it?
I want to say that they're fine because the show was telling a story more about like the development of Rakugo, so
Yeah,
it needed
that's
to
right, yep.
flash forward through time in order to show how the art form is changing and not just the individuals who practice that art form. But I like the first season's structure told as a giant flashback more because it allows you since it's someone's memory, it allows you to move through time a lot more naturally because it's someone's recollection.
Yep, I agree.
So
with
I
you.
think the first season was composed in a better way, and I mean I just like everything about the first season more. Although I have a lot of admiration for season 2.
I my one main complaint about the second season is like they hint about the female performers, Rakugo performers, but they never actually like show how she perform to us.
Well, they do. They show
They-
her doing Jigamo Jigamo
Oh,
in episode 4, I think.
That was the amateur one. I mean like the professional stage. But
Yeah.
yep.
I think the show implies that there are going to be more female performers, but you're right that we don't actually get to see it happen.
Well,
Like, not on a big stage.
Chinatsu became like a famous Rakugo herself, I think.
Right. Did we see her perform though? I can't remember.
Only on the amateur stage.
Right. Oh, you're talking about
with the kids.
Konatsu, right?
Oh, Konatsu, sorry, Konatsu.
Who is Chinatsu? I can't remember.
No, I mix up.
Chinatsu's not from the show.
Not
Like,
from the
what
show.
anime is that name from?
It's from your ballroom. Welcome to the ballroom.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. How could I forget? I covered that show for 24 episodes.
The same red hair girls.
Yes. The tsundere.
Yeah.
She was my favorite in the manga, man. I don't think the anime did her justice at all. But that's not what we're really talking about right now, I guess.
Alright, so it's my number 2 right now. It's your number 2. It's Three Gatsu no Lions.
Well, we've already covered my second pick, which was
Alright.
Rigatsu no Lion, and my first, which is Tsuki ga Kirei, and we've already done your second, which was Maid in Abyss. So why don't you talk about your number 1?
Alright, so my number 1 is Hozuki no Kuni,
Yes, Land of the Lustrous.
the land of the Lustrous.
Yeah.
It's for me because I read some of the manga like compared to the anime, so I still think the manga is more is better than the anime.
Okay.
It's but for me like this one is a special show. It just have the computer generated that done right.
Yes.
It have like all the passions, like passionate on put into it. It have like a very intriguing world. It have like a very intriguing concept about like all those different races that can make into the whole part of the human. And it's like one of the best character acts that I see in the world for the one core seasons. So like
Okay.
the main character first is see they maturing a lot from where we
Yeah.
first meet them.
That's something that I've seen a lot
Right.
online. A lot of people are like in love with Foss's arc.
Oh, me
I was
included.
I was definitely not one of those people.
Alright.
Yeah, I don't think that her story was particularly captivating or interesting. And in fact, a lot of the I feel like when people watch not just anime but like television, movies, whatever, a lot of people kind of have a mental notepad out, and there's like a checklist, and once they see X, Y, and Z happen, they check off the box that says character development.
Right.
But I don't think that just because you mess around with Antarcticite a little bit in the winter,
Mhm.
and you get attached to them and you learn a little bit from them, and then Antarcticite is like brutally killed by the what are the angel people called?
Lunarians.
Lunarians. Yes, thank you. I don't think that just because you react to a character's death by like becoming more quiet and your eyelids closing halfway to indicate that you're like saddened or whatever, I don't think that's character development.
Well, it's all right. In their defense, it's not actually the mentally developments. What you say is the mentally development. It's more on the physical development as well. So they change a lot. They change their mental, their physically, everything.
Yes, that's
Even
true.
their memory. So like the parts where they change their personality, it's just like one small part of all the changes.
Yeah, she gets the little heels with that gold, like solidified liquid or whatever,
Yep.
and I think her arms also change, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
I think in the future like her the head will change as well. So
well,
so they have
she got a haircut.
no she have like other head attached to her.
Wait,
But
what?
no it's not in the anime yet, but on the oncoming manga
Okay,
she will have like another head attached to her.
she'll have it. Whoa, that's weird.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, I guess.
Spoiler alert.
Um, huh. That'll be interesting. I mean, I'm interested enough in the show to watch a second season of it, but I didn't even put it in my top 10. It got kind of close, but
Kind of close. You put that like number 12
12, yeah. Below ACCA.
below. Okay.
I, like, to me, I don't think that Phosphophylite underwent a complete arc because of the way that the show ends, kind of suddenly. I also think that her relationship with Cinnabar was pretty weak. It was just kind of an excuse for her to become like interested in a way for Cinnabar to become more involved. It's kind of a way to jumpstart the story. And Cinnabar like barely appeared, so I was not into their relationship or Cinnabar's character. The to me episode 4 I think was my favorite. It was early.
What that?
It's the one where Foss goes underwater.
All right.
Do you remember the jellyfish
Yep.
person or whatever?
Yep.
She goes to return them. She goes to return the jellyfish person to her own
Yep.
family or her own race or whatever.
Yep.
And then she gets betrayed. Like that was to me that was the start of something really special. But then there was a fight scene, and then that conflict was resolved, and I don't think we ever heard from the jellyfish people again.
Well, that was my favorite episode as well, along with the episodes about Dia Diamond,
Right.
who got chased by Shiro, the six arms monsters.
Are you talking about the fluffy dog?
Yep. that
Yeah,
was that was the episode before the fluffy dogs. Dogs.
Right. I had kind of checked out of the show by that point, like by the end there. I was really into it. Like Foss is such a central figure in that show. And she starts out as like a Genki girl who's kind of annoying and is always cheerful. And by the end, she isn't that anymore. But I didn't really feel as though a significant change had happened. Obviously, she's acting a lot different and she looks a lot different. But I just feel as though the whole 12 episode show was just the start of something.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get as well. I just feel that the whole first season is the introduction phase. So there will be more to come.
Is there going to be?
No, I don't think so. That's the things. But I hope so. I pretty much hope so because I think Orange put a lot of effort into this.
They definitely did. I mean, if the end product is any indication, they're on another level
And
in terms of CG.
And if this story is gonna be translated into like the whole story, I think it will be a very engaging and very good story to watch.
I hope so. I'm interested enough to continue with it, but for me, this is the most overrated show of the year,
All right.
and it's obviously your favorite.
It's my favorite.
So we definitely have a difference of opinion there. But like I said at the start of this recording, there's no like right or wrong way to watch anime or to appreciate it.
Well,
It's down to individual taste.
yeah, that's right.
Any closing thoughts?
Well, last year, how you think about last year anime? You
As
didn't
a
like it
whole?
though, as a whole.
No, I wasn't into it. My favorite anime wasn't even mentioned. It's not even one of these 10 that we discussed.
Yeah.
It's The Night is Short, Walk on Girl by Yuasa.
All right. We can talk about it the other time actually.
I don't
Because-
know. The podcast is already an hour and 40 minutes.
No, I mean like other times. I mean like.
Oh,
next-
yes. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. For another time, I guess we can talk about that. For me, the two movies kind of like rescued the year in anime for me, and that was that one. And
In this corner of the world.
yes, thank you. That was actually a 2016 production,
Yeah.
but it was localized this year.
Mhm.
So if we're counting that, those two films like rescued 2017 for me.
The for In this corner of the world, I just watched it for our 2017 summary, but it ended up so good that I have to write review about it. So that just say how good it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a tremendous piece of work.
Well,
one of the better war films that I've seen, animated or not.
mm-hmm.
I need some food.
All right.
If I'm being honest with you, I think we ought to wrap this thing up.
Alright,
Do you want to talk at all about our plans for the podcast going forward before we sign off?
All right. So starting from next week, we're gonna discuss about the new season episodes. So we decided on four new shows and one classics.
Yes. So what are those four
And-
shows?
Yeah, those are After the Rain, Violet Evergarden, Kokoku, and what else?
Junji
Junji
Ito
Ito
collection.
collections. And
Yeah.
for the classic shows, we're gonna cover Ergo Proceeds.
Yes, Ergo Proxy. We're I've tried it before. I couldn't get into it. We're gonna give it another shot though.
Right. So I hope you guys enjoy listen to our rambling.
Yes.
And
Rambling for sure. And we
Hope-
apologize for any technical difficulties. Hopefully, we'll have edited a lot of them out.
right. And we hope to see you next week. This time next week.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye. Oh. No.